Useful vocabulary words for the IELTS exam day 11. 1. Indubitably. The word indubitably means without doubt, certainly, unquestionably. It is an adverb used to express a strong sense of certainty or conviction about a particular statement or situation. The evidence indubitably proves that the defendant was present at the scene of the crime. The new technology will indubitably revolutionize the way we communicate in the future. Indubitably, the chef's culinary skills are unparalleled, as evident from the exquisite dishes served at the restaurant. The scientists' findings indubitably support the hypothesis, leading to a major breakthrough in the field. Indubitably, the stunning natural beauty of the mountains will captivate any visitor who ventures there. 2. Ostentatious. Ostentatious means displaying wealth, knowledge, or abilities in a showy, excessive, or elaborate way, often to impress others. It suggests behavior or a display intended to attract attention and admiration, rather than being functional or necessary. The wealthy businessman's ostentatious mansion, with its towering columns and extravagant fountain, was clearly meant to showcase his wealth and status. The politician's ostentatious campaign rallies, complete with elaborate stage designs and celebrity endorsements, were more about self-promotion than engaging with the public. The fashion designer's latest runway show featured ostentatious gowns covered in sequins and feathers, drawing attention to the brand's lavish style. The new restaurant's ostentatious decor, with gilded chandeliers and marble floors, was intended to convey an air of exclusivity and luxury. The university's ostentatious graduation ceremony, with its elaborate processions and ceremonial robes, was more about demonstrating the institution's prestige than celebrating the students' achievements. 3. Paragon. A paragon is a model of excellence or perfection, a person or thing regarded as a perfect example of a particular quality or type. The acclaimed pianist was considered a paragon of virtuosity, with her flawless technique and emotional expressiveness. The charity organization is seen as a paragon of philanthropy, consistently demonstrating the highest standards of integrity and selflessness. The small family-owned winery has become a paragon of sustainable wine production, pioneering eco-friendly practices that set the industry standard. The famous architect's latest building is hailed as a paragon of modern design, seamlessly blending function and aesthetic innovation. The Olympic gold medalist is viewed as a paragon of athletic excellence, inspiring generations of young athletes to strive for greatness. 4. Panacea. A panacea is a solution or remedy that is regarded as being able to cure all problems or difficulties, a universal remedy or solution. Some people mistakenly believe that a single dietary supplement can be a panacea for all health issues, when in reality a balanced lifestyle is key. The new government policy was touted as a panacea for the country's economic woes, but it failed to address the root causes of the crisis. Many people seek a panacea for the stress and anxiety of modern life, but true well-being often requires a holistic approach. While technological innovations have solved many problems, there is no panacea that can single-handedly address all of humanity's challenges. The search for a panacea to end world hunger has been an elusive goal, as complex social, economic, and environmental factors must be considered. 5. Perfidious. Perfidious means deliberately unfaithful, treacherous, or disloyal. It suggests a breach of trust or a betrayal of one's word or obligations. The politician's perfidious actions, in which he secretly undermined his own party's platform, were a clear violation of the trust placed in him by his constituents. The corporate executive's perfidious business practices, which included concealing crucial information from shareholders, were exposed in a major scandal. The perfidious spy, who had been passing sensitive information to enemy agents for years, was eventually uncovered and faced severe consequences. The perfidious partner in the business venture suddenly absconded with the majority of the company's assets, leaving the other partners betrayed and financially devastated. The perfidious lover's deception, in maintaining multiple romantic relationships simultaneously, ultimately shattered the trust and confidence of all those involved. 6. Quixotic. Quixotic means extremely idealistic, impractical, or unrealistic, often in a way that is seen as foolish or impractical. It is often used to describe someone or something that is guided by ideals that are far removed from reality. The entrepreneur's quixotic plan to revolutionize the entire industry with a single innovative product was admired by some but dismissed as unrealistic by most. The politician's quixotic campaign promise to eliminate poverty overnight was praised by supporters but criticized as an empty, impractical pledge by opponents. The student's quixotic goal of single-handedly solving the world's most complex environmental problems through a personal project was admirable but lacked a realistic understanding of the scale and complexity of the challenges. The artist's quixotic vision for a sprawling, conceptual installation that defied conventional artistic norms was met with both fascination and skepticism from the public. The explorers' quixotic expedition to uncover a mythical lost civilization in the remote jungle was driven by a sense of adventure and wonder, but ultimately proved to be an impractical and dangerous endeavor. 7. Egregious. Egregious means outstandingly bad or shocking, typically used to describe an act or behavior that is remarkably bad or offensive. The company's egregious environmental violations, which included dumping toxic waste illegally, were met with widespread public outrage and severe legal penalties. The politicians' egregious display of corruption, in which they were caught accepting bribes in exchange for favorable policies, was a clear betrayal of the public's trust. The police officers' egregious use of excessive force against a non-violent suspect sparked widespread protests and calls for reform within the department. The professors' egregious academic misconduct, including plagiarism and fabrication of research data, led to their termination and damaged the reputation of the entire institution. The celebrities' egregious behavior, such as making insensitive remarks and engaging in inappropriate conduct, resulted in a major backlash and damage to their public image. 8. Quaint. Quaint means unusual or old-fashioned in an attractive and interesting way. It suggests something that has a charming, nostalgic, or quirky quality. The small, family-owned bookshop with its quaint, vintage decor and personalized service was a delightful respite from the impersonal megastores. The quaint country inn, with its cozy fireplace and homemade meals, provided a refreshing escape from the hectic pace of modern life. The historical town center, with its quaint cobblestone streets and well-preserved Victorian architecture, offered visitors a glimpse into the past. The quaint seaside cottage, with its colorful shutters and whimsical garden, had a timeless appeal that captured the essence of a bygone era. The quaint local museum, with its eclectic collection and knowledgeable docents, provided a unique and engaging educational experience for visitors. 9. Quandary. A quandary is a state of uncertainty or perplexity, often involving a difficult choice or decision that has no clear or easy solution. The company found itself in a quandary as it struggled to balance the need for cost-cutting measures with the desire to maintain employee morale and productivity. The student was in a quandary, unsure whether to pursue a career in their desired field or to take a more practical, lucrative job option that didn't align with their passions. The couple faced a quandary in deciding whether to move to a new city for a job opportunity or to stay in their current location to be closer to family. The government found itself in a quandary as it tried to address the complex, competing interests of various stakeholders in a contentious policy debate. The medical team was in a quandary, unsure of the best course of treatment for the patient given the conflicting information and risks involved. 10. Quash. To quash means to suppress, put an end to, or make void, especially in an authoritative or definitive manner. The court decision quashed the prosecution's key evidence, effectively quashing the case against the defendant. The CEO's efforts to quash the union organizing drive within the company were ultimately unsuccessful, as the workers were able to establish their collective bargaining rights. The government's attempt to quash the public protests by imposing harsh crackdowns only served to further inflame the situation and galvanize the opposition. The university's disciplinary committee quickly quashed the rumor of cheating, issuing a clear statement that the investigation had found no wrongdoing. The whistleblower's revelations threatened to quash the CEO's plans for a major corporate merger, leading to a flurry of damage control efforts. 11. Quaver. To quaver means to shake or tremble, especially in one's voice, often due to nervousness, fear, or emotion. The singer's voice began to quaver with emotion as they performed the poignant ballad, adding depth and sincerity to the performance. The witness's testimony was undermined by the way their voice would quaver every time they were asked about the critical details of the incident. As the high-stakes presentation began, the executive's voice started to quaver, betraying their underlying nervousness despite their outward confidence. The elderly woman's voice would quaver as she recounted the harrowing memories of her childhood during the war, the trauma still evident in her tone. The young musician's fingers quavered slightly as they played the delicate, intricate passage, revealing their lingering uncertainty despite their technical prowess. 12. Queasy. To feel queasy means to experience a sensation of nausea or slight sickness, often accompanied by a feeling of unease or discomfort. The turbulence on the flight caused several passengers to feel queasy, with some rushing to the airplane's restrooms. The strong smell of the chemicals in the laboratory made the new intern feel queasy, and they had to step outside for some fresh air. Watching the graphic surgery scenes in the medical drama made the squeamish viewer feel quite queasy, prompting them to look away from the screen. The prospective medical student felt queasy during their first cadaver dissection, struggling to overcome the visceral discomfort. After consuming the questionable leftovers, the person felt increasingly queasy, eventually succumbing to a bout of food poisoning. 13. Querulous. Querulous means complaining in a petulant or whining manner, often about trivial matters. The querulous customer repeatedly complained to the manager about minor issues with their meal, despite the server's best efforts to address their concerns. The querulous child whined and fussed over every little thing, much to the exasperation of their patient parents. The querulous elderly neighbor was known for their constant, querulous grumbling about the noises and activities of the other residents in the building. The querulous professor's frequent, querulous critiques of their colleagues' work made them unpopular among the faculty. The querulous politician's querulous, hyperbolic rhetoric during the debate did little to address the real issues facing the community. 14. Quibble. To quibble means to argue about or raise trivial objections to something, especially in a petty or annoying way. The opposing lawyers spent hours quibbling over minor procedural details, instead of focusing on the substantive merits of the case. The querulous customer quibbled endlessly with the server about the exact temperature of their coffee, despite it being within the acceptable range. The politicians frequently quibbled over semantics and word choices during the televised debate, distracting from the more pressing policy issues. The editors quibbled over minute grammatical inconsistencies in the manuscript, slowing down the publication process. The couple quibbled over seemingly insignificant household chores, their petty squabbles masking deeper underlying tensions. 15. Quiescent. Quiescent means being in a state of dormancy, inactivity, or relative calm, without motion or activity. After the intense storm, the once raging river became quiescent, its waters lying still and undisturbed. The volcano had been quiescent for decades, leading many to believe it was permanently dormant, until it suddenly erupted. During the summer months, the usually bustling city center became quiescent, with fewer people and vehicles in the streets. The stock market had been quiescent for several weeks, with little volatility or major price movements. After the heated political debate, the legislative process became quiescent, as the opposing parties took a break to regroup. 16. Quintessential. Quintessential means representing the most perfect or typical example of a particular quality or type. The quintessential New Yorker is often depicted as brash, ambitious, and always in a hurry. The quintessential French bistro, with its cozy atmosphere, simple but exquisite cuisine, and classic decor, has become a global icon. The quintessential American road trip, with its wide-open highways, roadside diners, and sense of adventure, has captured the imagination of generations. The quintessential British gentleman, with his impeccable manners, well-tailored attire, and stiff upper lip, has become a cultural archetype. The quintessential Silicon Valley startup, with its youthful, innovative culture, disruptive technology, and rapid growth, has become the model for aspiring entrepreneurs. 17. Quirky. Quirky means having an unusual, eccentric, or unconventional character or style, often in a charming or endearing way. The Quirky Café, with its mismatched furniture and handwritten menu, had a cozy, inviting atmosphere that set it apart from more conventional establishments. The Quirky Professor, known for their unconventional teaching methods and unique fashion sense, had a loyal following of students who appreciated their unorthodox approach. The Quirky Neighborhood, with its colorful street art, eclectic shops, and lively street performers, had a distinct character that attracted visitors seeking a unique experience. The quirky design of the new office building, with its asymmetrical architecture and integrated greenery, stood out from the more traditional corporate structures in the area. The quirky indie film, with its offbeat humor, avant-garde cinematography, and unconventional narrative structure, garnered critical acclaim for its refreshing departure from mainstream cinema. 18. Convalescent. Convalescent means recovering from an illness or injury, typically after a hospital stay. The convalescent patient was discharged from the hospital and began the process of slowly regaining their strength and mobility at a rehabilitation facility. After a lengthy hospital stay following a serious car accident, the convalescent individual was finally able to return home, where they could continue their recovery in a more comfortable environment. The convalescent elderly couple, who had both been hospitalized with severe cases of the flu, were now receiving daily visits from their family members to help with their recovery. The convalescent war veteran, still recovering from the physical and psychological wounds sustained in combat, was gradually reintegrating into civilian life with the support of local veterans organizations. Following a major surgery, the convalescent executive took several weeks of medical leave to focus on their recovery before gradually returning to their demanding work schedule. 19. Quorum. A quorum refers to the minimum number of members or officers required to be present for a deliberative assembly, such as a committee, board, or legislative body, to conduct official business or take formal action. The City Council was unable to hold its scheduled meeting due to a lack of quorum, as several members were absent. The board of directors could not vote on the proposed acquisition because they did not have a quorum, with only 4 out of the required 7 members present. The U.S. Senate requires a quorum of 51 senators to be present in order to conduct a vote on legislation or confirmations. The local PTA meeting was postponed because, with only a handful of parents in attendance, they did not have the necessary quorum to make any binding decisions. The nonprofit organization's annual general meeting was declared invalid after it was determined that the required quorum of members had not been met. 20. Quotidian. Quotidian means ordinary, commonplace, or occurring every day, routine. The quotidian tasks of grocery shopping, laundry, and cleaning the house consumed much of the busy family's time. The quotidian commute to and from the office became a tedious part of the employee's daily routine. The chef strived to elevate even the most quotidian ingredients, like potatoes and onions, into extraordinary culinary creations. For the retired couple, their quotidian activities, such as reading the newspaper and tending to the garden, provided a sense of comfort and familiarity. The quotidian schedule of classes, extracurricular activities, and homework left the high school student with little free time. 21. Obsequious. Obsequious means excessively or servilely compliant or submissive, often in order to gain advantage or favor. The obsequious personal assistant would agree with every request from the demanding CEO, no matter how unreasonable, in order to maintain their position. The obsequious politician was accused of being too deferential to the party leadership, compromising their principles in a bid for higher office. The obsequious employee would lavish praise on the manager during performance reviews, hoping to secure a promotion or raise. The obsequious guest at the dinner party constantly agreed with the host's opinions and went out of their way to please, in an effort to curry favor. The obsequious salesperson used exaggerated flattery and overly solicitous behavior in an attempt to close the deal with a prospective client.